See, am I okay right now? Do I look
Yeah,
like?
you
Can
look
you see me? That's fine.
perfect. Yep, everything
Okay.
is good.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then I know we live, but ain't nobody hear
Mm,
you. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
there,
Cool.
the StreamYard's doing something new where they're transitioning
Mm-hmm.
and taking us vertical. So we're on vertical YouTube and horizontal
Okay.
YouTube at the same
Oh,
time.
nice. Cool.
So that's what it's doing. So that way, when we're done, I can send you both versions. But we'll
Cool.
just give people a chance to come in. As you guys are coming in, let us know in the comments where you are watching from, what city and state you are in. And everybody get your notebooks out and leave your events at the door because it's later in the day and blunt scenes here. Okay. So we're going to have like a really, really blunt conversation. So right now, basically what you guys are going to listen to is two scientists kind of having a conversation and you guys just get to listen in. Like y'all eavesdropping on our conversation. That's kind of what today is going to be. So what you can do for me though is go ahead and check inside of the um description box, and if you look inside of the description box you can see the questions that will be going over, and this is just to keep me on balance. This isn't like a super detailed breakdown of anything, but I just want you guys to see sort of kind of how my mind works. And look at what popped up. You guys know how I feel about the Revere blow dryer, and this is gonna at QBS, this is going to fit in so good because
Good.
one thing we're going to talk about today is how products, the way that products are marketed to you, the way that tools are marketed to you. And let me tell you something, this brand know for a fact I don't like them, but they still paying me to be on my website. So these are the things that
Yeah.
I really want you guys to pay attention to. All jokes aside, I really need you guys to, if y'all don't take anything else from this conversation, like really understand how and when you're being marketed to and stop being so easily manipulated, because that's where we are. All right. So everyone, welcome in. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up because tonight we're having a straight up scientific conversation. It's going to be really real and authentic. So if you're easily offended, AQBS probably won't offend you, okay? He real smooth with his words, but me, and that's the great balance of masculine and feminine energy. I could be myself, and the calmness is over there, but it's not over here. So, like I said, we're going to have absolutely no fluff. And the very first thing that I want you to do is remember, as we're talking, if you guys have any questions, if anything confuses you, leave it in the chat. And whenever we get to the end, I'm going to go through and pick about 2 or 3 questions that one of us will answer. All right. So, my first question, because I have a lot, what biological processes would you say, like internally, that like we can't help? Like nothing that happens externally, but what would be the things that you've noticed, right, through your research that could lean to the triggers that could cause like balding or thinning and all of the different issues that you think people are seeing?
Hmm. Well, first, I think that hair loss is unnatural. Fundamentally, I think that hair loss is not something that we should view as natural. As a matter of fact, in this day and age, we're trying to extend human life to 120, what it really should be genetically, right? Or more. So they're starting to say aging itself is a disease, right? So if aging itself is a disease, then we could say that hair loss in itself is disease from a disease or a disease, or it is showing that we're not in optimal health. With that stated, if you experience hair loss or your hair is not optimal, and it tells you that the internal is not optimal, because hair is a reflection not just of your gut, but really of the inside, right? And the way to look at it is this way: because hair is not the heart or the brain, or the lungs or the liver, it's like the piece that the body says, look, I'm barely able to fulfill all of these needs here. So hair is, I'm just going to leave that to the side. So it kind of tells you that the body is struggling with really being in its optimal state. So it's leaving hair to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So biologically, I think that hair tells you how healthy you are internally, because if you're unhealthy internally or you have imbalances, to your point, your hair is going to show you, look, this is what's occurring. But it's just that we are so kind of used to seeing hair as cosmetic, and we don't see it as a reflection of our optimal state. And I think that's the key. So you're going to see issues with dieting. It's going to be diet. It's going to be your organs. And again, I just think that hair should be your visual representation of what else is occurring in your body, especially the gut. So if it's not ideal, or if there's alopecia type of issues, that's just a symbol of, okay, I have some work to do internally.
Yes, I agree 100%. And that, to me, that's a really good telltale sign that I would see when I was behind a chair with my clients.
Mhm.
Most of the time, when they had balding, you will also
Mhm.
notice like their skin would be really, really broken out. And then I will always ask them, like, how has your diet been?
Mhm.
Not that your diet
Mhm.
is like, oh, if you don't have a good diet, because I
Yeah.
want you to golf on me because I heard you in the other video, so I know it's not just the diet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just from the perspective of if I'm adding some type of food that is somehow decreasing or increasing my gut's good bacteria, and I have an imbalance in my body, then it could, let's say, send my body into something that causes me to produce too much sebum, and
Yeah.
then I have seborrheic dermatitis because of something I ate, because it's like a domino effect.
I
So
agree.
I think that was the gist of my question, and
Mhm.
I think for them to hear you say that, I think
Mhm.
it would help people understand a little more, because I don't know if men, maybe you could answer this question for me too.
Mhm.
I don't know if men have this issue, but a lot of times, like, women don't want to look at anything that happened in the past. For example,
Mhm.
it was a person. If you watching this video, don't be talking crap in the comments. But she had locks, and
Mhm.
she basically was saying that her locks are getting like thinner, right? And say with me, they're getting thinner and weaker
Mhm.
and stuff. And there's some strong points, but a lot of really weak points, and it's sporadic, right? So
Mhm.
it's the top of the lock, some it's the bottom of the lock, whoop, whoop, whoop. So then, as I began to ask her questions on her pattern, she goes, oh, well, I do use apple cider vinegar in my locks.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And so then she lets me know the pattern in which she uses it. So then when I explain to her that
Mhm.
apple cider vinegar is an acid, it's literally an acid. When you look at the back of the bottle, all of the zinc, potassium, everything's zero.
Yeah.
It's an acid. But then the the concept of weathering, it escapes people. Like, she didn't understand that, oh, I only used it one or two times. If you could break down in your
Mhm.
words weathering and the process of
Mhm.
you using a product one day or using a certain system one day, and everything's fine. Even the Rivera air blow dryer, there are a lot of people who are experiencing
Yeah.
damage with that because
Yeah.
everything's fine, but it's through the progression of you using a certain type of friction, or the
All the time.
progression of an acid sitting on your hair. And when something's in a lock, you think you got all of it out, but the chances of you getting 100% of it out is slim to nothing. So, do you think you could kind of break that down, like weathering in a way?
Yeah. So excuse me. The funny thing about apple cider vinegar is I have utilized that, but in a different way. So I created this scalp repair paste, but its function is literally to sit on the scalp and to dissolve skin layers and to dissolve plaque and cholesterol, the things that are kind of embedded. So I had to find something that was natural and strong and acidic. And what did I choose? Apple cider vinegar, because that's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for something that was going to break down instead of building up. So
Yeah.
apple cider vinegar is perfect for breaking things down. Not so perfect if you're trying to keep thick hair, because to your point, it is an acid. Actually utilize it to this day, but I realized that I'm using it for the very purpose, and it's acid, right? So that is weathering, but that's a purposefully using acid to weather down old
Skin layers
skin
and plaque,
and
yeah.
skin layers and plaque. Not now, if I had my hair in this condition back to pre-balding, I had an afro or something, I would never use apple cider vinegar, because I will understand on a hair especially, it's not going to be the right thing. And with locks, matter of fact, I had locks when I was about 27, and I wouldn't use anything harsh on it. But I remember that, once you damage it, it's very hard, because I don't think hair is dead at all. But the hair in the middle toward the end, it's too far away to really make it healthier again. I mean, maybe I get your idea on this, because by the time it gets to the end, you got to tie that lock up and try to not make it break.
Oh yeah.
But the damage is done already. So definitely weathering is good for if you're trying to break something down, but you want to do the opposite when it comes to hair. You don't ever want to, I don't see any reason why you would want to weather the hair. Matter of fact, and if your scalp is healthy, it really doesn't need that much weathering. You just need to kind of clear it and keep it clean and sanitized. You don't want to weather that either. If it's a great scalp, again, sanitation and keeping it open and keeping it peppermint ish is the best thing you can do.
Hmm.
You don't have to weather a healthy scalp, only a bad scalp, really.
That's perfect. And it's so funny too
Mhm.
that I didn't think to use that as a comeback after the last time we talked, because
Yeah.
you're the one who made me start thinking about plaque and things of that nature. Because again, just being honest,
Mhm.
it is something that women deal with too, for
Mhm.
sure. But I do think that it's something that men deal with a little bit more, and maybe way before women do. Because I remember there was a boy. He's a man now, but when I
Yeah.
was in high school, when I was in the ninth grade, he was in 12th grade, and his
Mhm.
hairline was receding when we were in 12th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I mean by it has to be something in between, like that we're missing, because my husband's aunt just passed away at
Mhm.
105. So if you could
Mhm.
live to be 105 years old, you're not going to tell me you're going bald at 18.
Exactly. And a lot of my cousins did, to be honest with you. I have on my mother's side, I have six uncles. She got six brothers. They all were straight up bald before they were 25 years old. And matter of fact, my cousin is 1 year older than me. He went bald at 18. He went at 18, he was shaving his back. So we know there's some genetics to that. But I think that genetics is kind of like the gun, and your lifestyle is like pulling the trigger. It's almost like that. So as long as it's just like when diabetes runs in the family. And you see three or four cousins with that. But the guy who or gal who runs, eats healthy, and stays within the normal BMI and some other things, that doesn't manifest in their life, right? So I think that families, when they say it's genetic hair loss, even alopecias, I really think that if you just move male pattern body to the side and let's just talk about alopecias. Absolutely, if your grandmother has it and your mother has it, and you can get it, you can see the lineage. Okay, I have so. But what happens is we're not seeing why the grandmother's manifested, why the mother's manifested, and why yours is manifesting. But when you look at lifestyle and you look at what you're using, and we're not eliminating, to your point, a trigger. And if you were to figure out what that trigger was for the grandmother, what the trigger is for the mother and you, I think that it will not manifest in your daughter. Now, if she does the same exact things, of course it will. But again, I think that the trigger comes from the lifestyle, where the DNA is the gun, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Because and that makes me think about a conversation that I had with one of my clients. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was not really an argument, kind of sort of an argument. She's an older Black woman, so even though she don't know what she's talking about, she know what she's talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And basically her thing was, no matter what, hair loss is genetic. It's genetic. It's genetic. So I was trying to break down to her that it's not necessarily that she's wrong, but her definition of something being genetic is wrong. And even as like when people listen to us talk, if we just say, yeah, it's genetics and we keep going, we know what we mean by that. But when you say genetics to most people, they don't really look at it as, okay, your patterns, like your weekly, monthly, daily patterns, but not only that, right? I'm just going to use this patient as an example. So first I started with her daughter, right? Her daughter, basically her daughter was only like 2 or 3 years old, and she started getting CCCA, the type of balding that women are getting in their 50s, right? So then when I sat down and we started talking, the way that she did her hair, the normal stuff that we've been doing forever, tight braids, tight ponytails, all of the things, right? And then the same thing with her diet. The daughter also had eczema. Everybody in the family has eczema, right? They all have eczema, they all have dandruff, and they all have psoriasis, okay? And so when you look at the pattern, they all live in the same climate, they all eat the same type of food, they all have the same type of diet, they all have the same amount of activity, which is none. They all wear really, really, really tight braids, and they grease and butter the scalp. And before they go to bed, they tie their scarves really, really tight. You know what I mean? So like when you start looking at all of these different things, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because in your last video that I watched, you brought up alopecia I think it was alopecia areata that you brought up, and you were saying that it's not real. And that's what I was trying to explain to her. It's not that, oh, you don't really have this thing going on. No, it is what we are calling the end result or the manifestation of a continuation of a certain amount of patterns. And the reason that most of the time, I don't know if you would agree or disagree with this, most of the time scientists, they can't find a reason for the cure. I mean, for the manifestation of it. They know what it looks like. Okay, it's in this pattern, it comes on this side of the scalp, it comes here. But then when we go and we look at the patterns and the routines, when you think about it, at its core, alopecia areata is basically when your immune system is attacking your hair follicle, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, before we even get to that, how could the immune system attack a follicle that is not supposed to be able to see? Because the immune system has immune privilege. It's like you're not supposed to see it. So then I sit down and I'm like, okay, what are the patterns and the routines that Black women are doing? And this is not to pick on Black women. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm a Black woman and that's a Black man. So that's what we're talking to today. So when you think about it, and it's like, okay, what are the things that Black women could do that could make an invisible follicle now visible to the body's immune system. So then when I went and looked at the list of things that can be possible, those are all of the things that Black women do and call cultural, or they call like hairstyle. So if you
Mhm.
fill something up that was vacant and you put a foreign body in it, our
Yep.
bodies are cities. So it's a foreign body. Our body's like, what is this? What is this? What is this?
Yep.
So your body starts sending soldiers attack. There's something attacking us. We don't know what this is.
Yep.
So you sent soldiers to fight the follicle that the body didn't even know was there.
Yep.
And then when you think about it, if you take it from a more literal sense, if you're a soldier and you're already like waiting for something to pop off, and then they call your help to an area that you didn't even know existed, you're gonna be more aggressive than you would have been. It's gonna be double the inventory being sent to that
Yep.
area. So it's like, is alopecia areata a disorder? No. Alopecia areata literally is a nerdy ass way of saying your hair follicle was hidden and now everybody know where it's at. They know where their location. Everybody coming through. That's why you bought it. That's
I agree. I totally agree with you. I think that they call it a disorder. You can use that word, but in a different way. It's in disrepair. Like it's in a disordered state. So because it's in a disordered state, and it's based off of what occurs. So I totally agree. I think that they're calling alopecia hair loss because that's what's occurring. But hair loss is the symptom of other things that occur first. And I always use this example. We have cats, dogs, mice, things with fur. And when we have our cat or our dog, it's a cat or dog. But when we see that that cat or dog is missing fur, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, we take it to the veterinarian and they say, oh, it's having some sort of fur loss, and they're going to start giving them steroids or some sort of cream. So we see that alopecia and hair loss, even on our pets, is unnatural. Yeah, we call it hair loss as if it's something that is normal to the body. No, it's a symptom of something greater. And I totally agree. Is the immune system saying, look, I don't know what you are, but you seem to be dangerous, but you got to go. And that's exactly what it is. And there are multiple things that can cause that, like tension, everything from stress hormones. And I think we talked about this before. It's really acute follicle stress. So rather you put the follicle in hormonal stress, or you put the follicle inside of something like a tension stress from hairstyles, like you talked about, glue stress from different type of glues you can use as chemical stress. When it's all said and done, matter of fact, pathogenic stress is going to be the follicle is under some sort of stress or duress, and it's going to lose what I call this baby, which is the terminal hair. Same thing you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's why I asked you the question, because I know we think the same, but I just wanted you to say it in your way, because I will say this for everybody who's gonna watch this on replay. The last time it was something, I can't remember what it was, because we agree on. I really can't think of anything we don't agree on so far. But it was something that I've said 100 times, and they were like, "Oh my God, the way he put it was so amazing." I was just like, a man say something.
Yeah.
No, but all jokes aside, do you have any questions for me before I hop into our next?
Yeah, I wanted to know, I guess the first question I would want to ask you from a hair growth perspective is, what was like the timelines that you see when you get a client and the hair is miniaturized? It's still there, but it's miniaturized. And how have you been able to kind of work it where it becomes full terminal? And I know that takes a little while. It ain't 2 months, but what's been the process, not necessarily for you, but what have you saw that clients did successfully to kind of get this miniaturization type of small terminal hair and kind of work it up to where it potentially could be?
Okay, that's such a good question. Okay, so this is where I always say you kind of have to be your own mad scientist, and that's for anybody, right? So at first, I would do the same thing that everybody else did. Like, look at their hair, look at their scalp, and say, oh, what hairstyles are you wearing? But
Mm-hmm.
understanding that hair weathering takes anywhere between 6 months to 25 years to show up, not to start, but to show up. I first, and they would be so irritated. But first, I would have to go all the way back as far as they could remember their patterns and their routines, right? Because one thing that I found is our immune system and the immune privilege is really, really connected. So when you think about it, and that's why I was like, oh, I love his content, because even when you said DHT, it's not just DHT, it's DHT in conjunction with other things. Because if you think about it, right, what I said about the diet, one first step is your diet, the food and things of that nature that you eat is messing up your gut microbiome, so your body can't even create the cells that it needs to create during the anagen phase of your hair growth cycle. Plus, on top of that, you're a man, so depending, and I'm just using men for an example.
Yeah.
In this example, your well, actually no, it'll be easier to use a woman because women got way more issues. So let's say you've had a baby, or even going through something as, not that it's small, but like things and problems and things like that in your relationship and stuff like that. Like those problems, a lot of people don't understand how much of a trigger things like that are. And so when you look at the repetitive cycle of all of these things conjunct on top of each other, they all really point to the immune system. Everything points to the immune system, because your immune system, the majority of our immune system is where? Within the lining of our gut. So if your diet's off, and if the majority of the things that you're putting in your body are disrupting the body's immune system, it's not just gut health, because what's happening in your gut is protecting everything else in the body. So if my gut's off, then my blood's off. And if my blood's off, then I'm not getting enough oxygen to my scalp. And if I'm not getting enough oxygen flow to my scalp, those hairs that want to get bigger because they're there. I would have clients that was bald head skinny for a long time, but then they changed some of their patterns, and then the hair would show up, but it would either not get thicker, like the density wouldn't change, or it couldn't make it past a certain phase. It couldn't make it past the hair growth cycle. You know how, the skin cell turnover cycle. You know how every 28 days are, the skin cell turnover.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I would find that I would have them come on a cycle where they would be coming to me the week after that skin cell turnover cycle, because they weren't coming that week of and blaming it on me, but the week after. And I would see every time they couldn't make it past that cycle. And I would purposely have their appointments, like I would see them right before skin cell turnover and right after. Right? So they would never be able to make it past that phase. And then when I would look at their diet, there's something else that you said that was great. It's not that the diet's bad, right? But the diet may not be for your body.
Absolutely. And that's a great thing, because I think a lot of times it's okay. So the food that we're eating now is different than the food that we had. As a matter of fact, my grandparents were in Tennessee, and my grandfather used to have a garden in the back. And when we were kids, we used to take a tomato, and most people hasn't really tasted what a tomato tastes like from the garden. when it's not like the ones from the grocery store, they taste decent, but when you taste it from the garden, it's spicy. And they're the orange ones, the red ones, the green ones, and when it gets red, man, we used to eat it like it was fruit because it really is a fruit. It has that much flavor inside of it. So when I got older, I began buying stuff from the grocery store. I'm like, this doesn't taste like a tomato, and it's missing those components. So I think right now it's not just about bad foods as much as empty foods. So we're eating empty foods, and then we have the toxins associated with it. So yes, you can eat the exact same stuff that your grandmother did, but her food was totally different than yours. So now that's why we have to take a supplements and be extra careful now in our environment. So it is diet, but it's not that we're so much worse than our forefathers as much as they actually had real food to eat. They had real food, they had real vegetables and real stuff like, and their meat was totally different. So when you add like the steroids and the stuff that makes the animals grow like this and chickens, and when we're taking that in now, the kids to this day, I'm pretty sure a lot of your listeners will agree. When we were, I'm not a very tall guy, but at the same time, when I was, 11 and 12, 13 years old, you had that one tall kid, maybe in elementary school. But now you go to elementary school, you're looking up to these kids. I mean, these kids are much taller and than our ages prior, because I think the foods too. So that's the benefit of that. But it comes along with other stuff, to your point. So the gut health becomes a problem. And it's not about diet as much as it's about trigger. Like, is this triggering for you? It may not be triggering for your best friend, but it's probably triggering for you. So y'all can have the same exact perfect diet. Matter of fact, you got vegans, and then you have people who are carnivores. And the person would say, man, you got to be a carnivore because this is fantastic for me. And that person switches to vegan, and the vegan is saying, no, this is perfect for me. And they're arguing. But actually, both of them are telling the truth. Some people cannot do vegan. It's going to destroy them. And some people cannot do carnivore. It's going to destroy them. So it's not really just diet as much as, to your point, how it interacts with you. And that's what makes it complicated for people like you, because you want to direct people the right way. But there's always this point where you're saying, look, this is right. Potentially is potentially right, but it's really based off of genes. It really is. So there's a point where you have to say, when I eat this, how do I feel afterwards? How do I feel? Do I feel bad or good? Because some people eat an apple and they feel terrible afterwards, and some people can eat apples every day. So yes, it's diet, but your genes will tell you what your body is looking for. But also there are things in the diet that's going to be abrasive and be destructive for anybody, like too much sugars and stuff that has been mass produced, things that are in a box. If it didn't exist 200 years ago, it's probably not the best thing to eat. So it will have more triggers and stuff that's mass produced versus that tomato, although it may not have all the nutrients.
Oh, this is so perfect. And this is why I like talking to scientists, because
Mhm.
I feel like the conversation, it just automatically flows, because that leads to me kind of finishing up the answer to your question, because
Mhm.
once I asked all of those questions, like, they would be irritated. They would have to
Mhm.
fill out a full questionnaire. And then once we looked at the patterns of like moms, grandmas, and all of the things, like, we would find that
Mhm.
sugar was a trigger for this
Yeah.
bloodline. So when we say in genetics, that doesn't mean like, oh, the Smiths, all of the Smiths have receding hairlines, so you automatically gonna have receding
Yeah.
hairlines. No, that
Mhm.
means this genetic pool is sensitive to sugar, and
Yep.
sugar triggers this genetic pool. Just like me, the Edwards, right? That's my maiden name.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the Edwards
Mhm.
all have hydrogenated superativa. Every last one.
Yep.
Every last one.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is none of us have ever talked about it. It's just something that we all dealt with. And then they see my stuff like, girl, I get that too. Because it's
Yeah.
something that we just deal with. And hydrogenated superativa is basically where my, what we talked about with
Mhm.
alopecia areata, how the
Mhm.
immune system attacks the follicle. So
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
hydrogenated superativa, my
Mhm.
immune system attacks my sweat gland, right? So
Right.
this is what I found.
Mhm.
And it's even doctors were like, oh my God, wow, that's interesting. I'm like, what am I paying you for, ma'am?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
when I sat down and looked at it, I'm like, okay, when I go vegan, when I'm full vegan, I get no outbreaks, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm talking the second, like giving me like 5 minutes, especially beef, eating like anything
Yeah.
beef, or especially like a burger or something, I
Yeah.
can literally feel my sweat gland become to get inflamed. The same way you would feel like right before you about to get a big pimple on your face, like a white one,
Yes.
like the
Yes.
itching.
Yeah.
But like imagine like biting a burger, finishing up, and then that happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. As once I went vegan by mistake, like watching too
Mhm.
much YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I noticed as I was after like a week of all of these vegan recipes, I'm like, I haven't
Or
had any
flare ups.
outbreaks. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm about to eat a burger. Let me see what happens. Ate the burger instantly. I
Yeah.
stopped because it would take like a couple of weeks for it to flush out of my body. And
Yeah.
then after that, right back to it. And so then I started doing my research on the hormones.
Mhm.
So because my body attacks itself, and it's like hormonal, like my body will start overly producing cortisol and estrogen. Like I produce way too much estrogen, and everybody with HS does. Our bodies produce way too much of it.
Yeah.
So well, I'm like, why is it with meat and beef specifically? Well, when I went and sat down, I'm a super nerd and went to go research the steroids and the antibiotics and all of the stuff that they were putting inside of the beef. My body breaks that down. Whatever you eat, you become, for real.
Yeah.
So everything that they put inside of the meat is also in my body too. So those
Yeah.
same hormones, all of
Mhm.
those same antibiotics, all of those things flush through my body. And then most of us, myself included, you don't think about your skin. It's like the biggest organ on your body. It releases things. So
Yep.
as my skin that already has a follicle that is overly sensitive and a sweat gland that's overly sensitive, when it goes to release the things that are in the beef and everything else, it triggers inflammation, and there's
Yeah.
my outbreak. So if I don't ingest the things that are going to trigger my body upon release, I don't get an outbreak. It's just as simple as that. So
Absolutely.
when I thought about that and I took that to my client, her mom and her grandmother, they all changed their diet 100%. It was really hard, but I had them take out all sugar. So they had replacements like monk fruit
Yeah.
instead, and like stuff like, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. So just all
Mhm.
sugar completely
Yeah.
out. And it took a year. That's why, again, I love the thing that you said in your last video, because most
Mhm.
people that it's gonna be instant. No, the anagen phase is about 7 years, girl. Like it's
Yeah.
no, about 3 years, depending on the person. If your
3 to 7.
diet up to par and things of that nature, three to
Mhm.
seven, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, but most people, if we're talking about still working on getting your gut together, I'm gonna say 3, girl. It's probably not 7 for you. So
Yeah.
once we reset their diet and things of that nature, but again, targeting the issue, then
Mhm.
that was something that was able to regrow the hair because the immune system was no longer under attack. And just like you said, like if it's something wrong with another part of your body, if one part of your body is about to die, the rest of your body is sending everything to that part of the body. So
Absolutely.
once the sugar was eliminated and the body no longer had to deal with that, then it was able to focus on everything else, and the hair regrowth and the skin clearing up, it happened automatically because the body's a cycle, it's a system. I remember you saying like hair wants to grow, it wants to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
That's
I
good
hope that
stuff.
answers.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I think that was one of the big turning
Hmm.
points for me. Say I use my clients like they was test dummies or nothing like that, but
Yeah.
kind of sort of, because when you really sit down and look at the patterns, even men that I had as clients. I remember one of my clients, he had a really big nut allergy, right?
Yeah.
But okay, I don't even want to say allergy, because normally when somebody has an allergy, it's like, oh, as soon as I eat it, my throat closes up or my face break out and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Well, his was manifesting in another way. His
Mm.
was manifesting through inflammation of his scalp. But then
Makes
peep
sense.
game. But then peep game though. He's like, okay, so I cut out peanuts, I cut out almonds, da da da, all that. But
Hmm.
I didn't even realize. Most people don't realize how many products that we eat on a regular basis have nuts in them, even
Yep.
as additives, even if it's like a small extract, like sesame seed extract, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it could be things as small as that. So literally everything that I said about the mom, the grandma, and
Hmm.
the daughter, but all put together, but just for nuts. And that was, I mean, I need to grow up. And he was able to like readjust and turn everything around just from deducting that from his diet. He was able to take the hairs from being miniaturized to the next level because he had did all of the other work, but every
Yeah.
time the hair would grow in, it would take a step back because of his immune system under attack because of what he was
Makes
eating.
sense. Makes total sense. And I think on the peanut thing too, what I realized is that I can't do gluten. Gluten is what does that to the people in my family. But I would eat peanuts, not realizing that this peanut factory had these, I guess, the conveyors, and they were processing wheat and making crackers and stuff on the conveyor. And then they'll turn around and put the peanuts on the same conveyor, kind of. I don't know if it's exactly that way, but it's kind of that way. So I would eat
I'm sure.
peanuts and I start to get like flushing as if I'm eating wheat, and I couldn't figure it out until I realized that it was some sort of contamination. So sometimes you're not even eating the wrong things. It's just that those foods are contaminated. But if you look on the back of it, it'll say may have blah 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 blah. But you wouldn't think that because you're gluten intolerant that you have to look and see if it's a peanut or not. So you're just like peanuts. I'm not allergic to it, but a lot of it is contamination as well too.
And that's something else too that I want to research. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on like peanuts, and I think it's something with peanuts and black meat specifically because I want to say maybe like the last year or so, my husband's been really sensitive to peanuts, like just, and we just like, I don't know what this is. Let's just do away with them. And of course, like people eat peanuts, peanut butter all the time, but just out of nowhere, it's like something. I don't know if it's like a certain age. I have to look it up, but it's
Yeah.
like something in y'all genome that's be like, don't put no more peanuts in here.
And it could be to the point where what you were talking about when you eat the beef is it the beef or is it what they add extra to it? But I think that they're trying to farm stuff in particular ways, and they're adding stuff to make that peanut grow. It used to take it, I don't know, 2 years or 6 months to get to where it was, and
Something like
utilize
that.
specific things. And now in I don't know, 3 months it's doing that same, and then we're taking those things in. So when we eat the peanut, it's not the peanut as much as what's added to it a lot of times. And it maybe what it is too. But I know that the last couple of times I ate peanuts, it started to treat like I'm taking gluten. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm gonna when I figure it out, I'm gonna email you. Like I
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Let's go live together. But okay, this is kind of off subject, but not really. I don't
Mhm.
want to forget about this, so I'm bringing it up now.
Mhm.
One of my pet peeves, because I'm a nerd and because I dove so deeply into the hair growth cycle, understanding the hair growth cycle, and not only
Mhm.
that, being a person who dealt with hair loss, the first thing you want to do when you deal with hair loss is try to be a mad scientist. Like, I don't care
Exactly.
how many years the hair growth cycle take. What can I put on my scalp to make it last a week? I want the hair back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you can do that. We've tried. I'm pretty sure you've tried to
Yeah.
shorten it up, but we simply can't. But every time you go online, though, you see a new product, a new oil, a new grease, a new tea that you drink and you rub on your head, you click your heels together 3 times, and then your hair gonna grow back, right?
Yeah.
And I think one thing, the very first time I talked about it, it was with a dermatologist, but she was like she talked like fast, and
Mhm.
it just didn't get over
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
if you could put this in your own words, my view and my take on it, especially when we're talking about something like just using this for an example, like a Myo Organics or Miracle Drops or Beyonce's new stuff, right? What
Mhm.
people don't understand is what you said before, what you was like, it's not about what you put on the scalp, but what you take away from it. And what
Yeah.
people don't understand is they're not taking anything away from the scalp. And these people that are making these products are not stupid. They know that. So they make products and sell you something that is going to dissolve what's on your scalp. And underneath the things that were on the scalp preventing your hair from growing, the hair growth cycle was happening. There was hair there anyway. But
Anyway.
now that it's gone, now that nothing's blocking it, the follicle will be like, oh, the door's open. Oh, okay, we can get out of telogen and we can grow. But the hair was already there.
Yeah.
But the way that they market oils and butters and all these hair growth products, it puts people under the preconceived notion that the hair was non-existent. There was no follicle being produced within the gut. Wasn't nobody in there. And then you put this product on the scalp, and all of a sudden it go into your scalp, go all the way to your gut, start producing cells in the anagen phase. It get from anagen to canogen to telogen to estrogen, all in a week.
It's
It's
crazy. It's no, it's crazy. And here's why you're right. You're absolutely right. And here's why I know that. Because I have been forced to try to take bald skin to terminal hair. And my biggest issue right now, and I'll say this right here on the internet, somebody gonna put this video up in like 2 years, that's fine, is that you cannot force the time of the body. I've tried my best to try to speed it up, and it's going to do its pattern, and it's going to do its functions because there are multiple things going on underneath the surface. But that's my biggest. Growing hair is not hard, but those stages, it wants to go through those stages. And when you talk about anagen, catagen, telogen, and exogen, which is to exit out the old hair, I look at it like this. You have creation, you have sustainment, and you have destruction. And that's like the universe. A star is created and it sustains like our sun. And then eventually it becomes a supernova, then it destroys itself and everything around it becomes a black hole, right? Which is the exogen stage. And then when you look at anagen, catagen, telogen, exogen. What you're looking at is the life cycle of a person. Anogen, you're born, or the morning time. Then you have catagen, which is the afternoon or evening, those. And then you have the sleeping time where that will be what is that? That'll be telogen. And then the exogen is when when you leave and pass on. So those stages cannot be rushed. You cannot take a baby naturally, right? And say, okay, now you're 6 weeks old, and I'm going to force you now to be 4 years old within that time scope. So it's the same exact thing when it comes to hair. It's going to say, I'm 6 weeks, now I'm 8 weeks, now I'm 2 months. And then in that 2 months, it's going to do things that a 2-month-year-old do versus a 7-year-old does. So here's the same exact way. So when they come on these sites, man, and they say, oh man, use this oil or use this serum, and then they show like the AI grow this hair out. I'm like, man, y'all making a lot of money, but that's all y'all really doing. Y'all not really changing people's life like that. And it gives people the wrong impression when you're really trying to help them. Cause I get it a lot too, that, hey, no, how long would this take? You're looking at 6 to 8 months before you see if it's working or not. They're like, wait a minute, this is saying in 2 months. I'm like, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not talking about you. I don't know who they're talking about, but they're not. I don't know who they're talking about, but they're nobody. In 2 months, they're gonna take a ball or suffering hair, and now it's gonna be something you can pull on. It doesn't work that way. And the reason why that's true too is because both men and women both have issues with our hairline a lot of times, but it's for different reasons. And that is a difficult thing to fix. But they're saying all you got to do is put this lotion on or this oil on. I'm like, this BS. It's BS. And I hate that it's so much ads now, and it's so much people, and they're using the same psychology of people, and it's really hope in a bottle, because they realize that they can always blame you if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They can always say, look, you use the oil, right? Yeah. So, but what was your diet like?
Yeah.
You use my oil, right? Yeah. Did you exercise during? Like, what does it have to do with it? You say your oil was going to do what it does, but that's the way they get away with it, man. So you can never really prove if it's working or not, especially if it smells good and it makes your hair shine.
That is so true. And to me, that goes into what I was talking about with the dermatologist. She said the same thing. She was like, literally word for word, what you just said is hope in a bottle, is marketing. It's supply and demand. That's the easiest way to make money. Okay, if I want to make a hair product, and this is just being real authentic, if y'all feel the way, y'all feel the way. This me saying this, not AQBS, okay? If somebody wants to make money, right? And I'm the person who wants to make money is in black, white, Mexican, forget it. It doesn't matter. It's just a person who wants to make money the fastest way. If somebody was to ask me that, the fastest way to make money would be to make a hair product for black women. Specifically, not for women, for black women specifically, telling them, this is a hair product, and it doesn't cost you anything like for you to do yourself. All you have to do is put the product on your hair and let us do the rest. It is easy. You're going to make money fast. Why? Because we are looking for, not me, y'all are looking for the quickest thing that requires the least amount of accountability.
Of effort.
And the easiest thing to give you would be a product that will go on the scalp. But the gag is, the majority of black women that are experiencing the hair loss, that are really, really going out and making these brands popular, are in their 20s, right? So most of your products, most of your balding and stuff like that is coming from you clogging the pores. The last conversation me and AQBS had was about plaque and the different layers of skin. So if you're only 25 years old, you've only been responsible for doing your own hair for a little bit of time. So the plaque it could still be there, but it's not as thick, right? The
Mhm.
layers of dead skin could be there, but they still may not be as thick. So with
Yeah.
my organics, for an example, with her having that extremely high concentration of essential oils, which is meant to do nothing but dissolve, and you're putting that on the scalp every day,
Mhm.
yes, it's going to dissolve some things. And if you stop, right, once your hair starts growing, you could be under the illusion that this product made your hair grow. But in reality, all it did was dissolve, right?
Right.
And that's why I'm glad you brought that up. And in conjunction with what you said about apple cider vinegar and the product that you have, right? It's
Mhm.
not that when I say, "Oh, don't use apple cider vinegar," I cook with apple cider vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar for a lot of things. So I'm
Yeah.
not like, "Oh, you're going to hell if you use apple cider vinegar." But it's
Yeah.
just like putting it on your scalp for hair growth. That's not
Yeah.
what it's for. Putting it on your scalp to cleanse it. That's not what it's for. Like honey, honey's great for you, but it'll mess up your car if you put it in the gas tank. It don't go in
Definitely
there.
will. Definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Apple cider
absolutely.
vinegar, it's amazing. You can pickle vegetables. It has so many amazing
Mhm.
benefits for the inside of the body, or to break up plaque, or
Yeah.
all of the other things on the scalp. But it's not a hair growth product. So
Yeah.
that's the way that I want y'all to look at things. Even when we're talking about like hair products and these oils and butters and greases and things of that nature. Okay, it always has to go to why. And my question to you is, do you think people have really like, do you think people, men and women, go through the process of asking themselves the question like, why am I using this? And what am I using it for? Or do they just go straight to, it'll give me this manifestation?
Yeah. I think when you look at hair as a plant, I think that's actually what confuses us. And although there is some similarities in how the growth of it and what it looks like, but I think when you look at a plant in your house and you water it and it grows, it's like, okay, on the the dirt, I'm gonna put the water in there. I got aloe plants, I do it every Saturday. That's it. So I think that's what confuses us. So it's very easy to say this topical will make your hair grow. But a lot of times, two problems could occur. They're almost opposite, but it's two problems. Number one, is it going to get through the scalp? A lot of stuff, especially when you see hair loss there, whether you're a woman or a man, a lot of times you have to think about it this way. If it's hair loss in this spot, then underneath that spot is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to get oil there, and what is it going to do, and what is it going to carry there? Number one, and it's probably not going to get through there because when you have a balding scalp or hair loss, it's a tissue problem. And that's a word that we don't use a lot when it comes to hair loss or hair growth, is tissue. What is the condition of the tissue? And using stuff on top of tissue that has a problem.
Can you break that down for them a little bit,
Yeah,
like
that's fine.
the difference? Because I think that'll go over
Like
easy.
tissues. Okay, so like healthy tissue. Healthy tissue is going to be tissue that's soft. You're going to see your hairs grow out there. It's going to be three or four hairs in your follicle. It's not going to do a lot. It's not going to have a lot of oil in there. It's not going to be tender to the touch. There's not going to see red splotching. The immune responses such as acne, when you see the acne, the oil, the pain, any type of immune responses on the surface, I will always say look at it as three times worse. Because if you see redness on the epidermis, then what is occurring beneath there? Because that's the true problem. Just like hair is a manifestation of the gut. So if you're losing hair, then there's some problems internally. It's the same way with the three layers of the scalp. So the other two problems I was saying is it going to get through the scalp? And you've said this before too. Yes or no? Okay, more than likely, a lot of oils and stuff, they say that. How is it doing that? Like seriously, how because the skin and the scalp is meant to keep things out. That's its function. Its function is to say, look, I don't want anything in here that's not coming from the anything in here I trust. Anything on the outside, I don't really trust you like that. So it has to get in there. And when it does get in there, now it has to carry something important. Okay, what are you carrying? Like, let's say coconut oil. What are you going to carry with that? Something that's going to make the follicle grow well. Actually, if you look at the follicle as it's connected to a vessel, I don't know how much more it's going to do for you. So can it get to there? Probably not. And if it does, what is it carrying? And a lot of times what it does do though, is it gets into that follicle pore, or it gets into your pores, and it creates inflammation over time. Not the first time, not the second time, but as time goes on, your body gets rid of it. You don't notice it's getting rid of it, but it does. But a couple of months down the line, you're like, wait, I was growing hair just fine. And now all of a sudden I'm losing hair. I need to switch my product. But you just now seeing what was occurring right in the beginning. It's just your body was really great at fighting it off, but eventually it gives up.
Because sometimes I've seen, you know how we always say like our bodies, we like train our bodies after, like you just said, after you do something so many times and your body fights it off, your body's like, okay, maybe this is something new. Maybe this is what we're doing now. Okay. And then your body stops fighting it off. Then the cycle starts where your immune privilege is gone because you keep filling it up. And before you know it, your hair is thinning out. That was great. Before I move on, do you have anything you want to ask me?
No, I think we're good. We can move to the next subject. Absolutely.
Okay, so this is still kind of within the same realm of the last question that I just asked you.
Yeah.
But the one issue that I'm seeing right now is people are having a hard time separating the difference between, let's say, a scientist like me or you or somebody who has went from one grift to the next. Because I've noticed, like, and it's crazy. I'm like, am I the only one who sees this? Like, I've noticed, like, within the last, maybe, I don't even want to say the last year, people have went from, oh, do it yourself to, oh, I'm in school. I'm a scientist now. Or I have my own products and you put this on your scalp and this will grow like this. And it's just, I think that somewhere, but I'm not able to figure it out. And this is my question to you. What the thing was that made gatekeeping just completely gone? Because I don't know from a barber's perspective, like with men, I know for myself, but what do you think for men it was the thing that kind of took the gates and made it a free-for-all for everybody?
You know, I think it's social media. It's social media, and the companies now do so much white labels where they'll say, you know, one company would have their products, which is their chemicals, and then you could throw a label on it. Just like you can get clothes, right? And you could say, this is I have a clothing outfit or clothing business, but you would get the clothes and you'll put your labels on it. And now it's your clothing business, you know, something like that. And I think we're doing that a lot with products. So you think you're getting a different product because it's a better label on it, but you're really getting the same product. And a lot of times those products aren't even from here. And they're from places that don't have the controls we have, right? But you got a nice label on it. And then when your label is going to say US, it's going to look like it's coming from you. But I think social media has done that because it's made it easier. And I'm going to tell you this, it's going to get worse. With AI and things there, man, it's going to make it so you can't tell what's what. So you almost have to look at, it's going to sound funny, but you almost need to read a book.
No, seriously, you have to know the science.
You got to know the science, or people who have the track record. And be honest with me, you have the track record. I'm new to the scene, not really new to hair loss, but new to the scene. But you have the track record and you're showing from the very beginning. I'm pretty sure you changed along the way. But anybody that's new that can go on, Chat GPT and put in, let me go ahead and see if I can say this and look the part. They're gonna have to have the evidence.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to have how many videos you got, 2 or 200, and how long you been on here, and what did it look like, before, and also you have to be careful. And I notice really more or less on where you guys are as far as hair is concerned, is that people without hair issues, when they're the ones that are selling a product, you got to be real careful about that, because a person could have had beautiful hair from 2 years old to 20 years old. They never struggled with hair loss. They never had issues. And you kind of talked about how you had certain issues that you had to pull through. Now, me being Norwood 7, that's a bald man and regrowing hair is totally different than a guy who is 20 years old and is going back a little bit and he's using, some sort of stimulant. I'm not saying he doesn't have an issue that he wants to solve. I'm saying you got to be careful who you listening to, because some people haven't had the problem that you're listening to right now. They haven't had your problem. They haven't had acne. They haven't had alopecia. They haven't had the genetics you have. So when you look at them and you see this thick curly hair, you say, I'm using what she's using. She ain't got to use that. She ain't got to use that. He doesn't have to use that. He doesn't even know. But when they experience what some of you all experience, they're going to be looking around too. And guess who they're going to go to? They're going to go to sin, because they're going to go to somebody with the science, because now they got to figure out a real problem. And most of them, they ain't got the problem enough to be telling anybody what to do. And that goes for men's hair loss too. They're selling the ideal, but they never been through the struggle. They don't know, but they can sell the hell out of it though. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the worst part. I think you can agree that, like, as a scientist, I think that's kind of been the hardest part for me, because when you go online, you see so many people like, look, buy this, 39.95, 250, and they make it sound so good that when I come and say the exact opposite, which is, this not gonna take 2 weeks, this will probably take 6 months, and you're not gonna be able to do your hair real quick. It's gonna take some time. It'll take. Then it kind of turns into something where they're just completely shut off, because instead of them being able to learn, they feel attacked, right? Yeah. And this is the thing. To undo things that have been generational, and to undo things that are almost like woven into the identity of Black women, it's not gonna come out like, oh guys, you should stop doing this. It gets to a place where we have to sit and think, like, just being able to have critical conversations, like the same thing I said to answer your question, like, okay, if it's sugar, what are all of the things that I have to cut out, and really being able to be accountable from that perspective. But again, I think the thing that makes it hard is like two different realms of professionals.
Yeah, so, and I think it's a phrase that everybody should kind of just think about. Are you being sold to, or are you being serviced? Are you being sold to or serviced? And to be honest with you, most of what we encounter in hair loss, or not just hair loss, but growing hair, is being sold to. So we don't know the difference between being serviced. Now, there's nothing wrong with a person presenting something to you. Hey, this could help your function, but there's a big difference between it's all sales and it's service and sales, because sales is good too, but it needs to be a service attached to that. It needs to be some sort of authenticity attached to that. And I think that, to your earlier point, the more it's so crowded out there now that you don't know, because authenticity seems legit when the ad looks fantastic, when it's attached to a celebrity, when the person looks fantastic and they fit the model, right? But at the same exact time, you feel it when you know it. You just say, look, am I being sold to, or is this a service? And if they're telling you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and something that is very, very odd and kind of like totally different than a person who, look, if I ain't selling nothing to you and I'm telling you it's going to take you 6 months, that's different than a person just selling to you saying it's going to be taking 2 weeks. It's not going to be 2 weeks. I wish it was too.
Yes.
I wish it was too. It's just not.
What?
It's just not. Yeah.
And
I
I
have
think
dreadlocks right now.
that, and this is the thing that if y'all don't listen to nothing else that we say,
Yeah.
this is what both of us do for a living. Do you know how rich we would be if there was a way for y'all to reset y'all hair growth cycle tomorrow? Do you really think that we would be holding that in and keeping that to ourselves?
I'll be a
No, I
billionaire.
would be the first one. Like, I would be the first person to tell you, and I'm not gonna hold you up. No, it would not be for free here on YouTube. You're gonna be paying me, okay? So
Yeah.
we don't. All jokes aside, we really. I'm telling you, and even when you think about it, like if you stop thinking about hair, if you've ever had anything going on with your body and then you have to take medication or anything like that, it takes months for your body to heal up. I have had 2 children, 2 C-sections. It took my body a year to heal. A little longer than that. My daughter is 14. My son's about to be 13. And I feel like my body still isn't, you know what I mean? Like back fused together 1000% because it takes time. And that's just like if you had any type of ailment and then you go in to see your doctor is going to tell you this has to become familiar with your body for at least 6 months.
At least.
Like at least 6 months. And that doesn't mean you're going to start seeing changes. The doctor's saying it's going to take 6 months for your body to accept this as something that's now going to be in the genome. Because your body doesn't want anything in there that doesn't belong. So anything that you're putting in, it want to get out.
Yep.
Anything that goes in, it wants to take out. Even if it's something that helps you, it's pushing it out. So it takes your body a second, like, oh, okay, this is a new pattern. Not even to get like all super spiritual, because I don't know how you are with that. Even when you take it from a spiritual perspective or just for yourself emotionally, when I first started meditating, it's not just, oh, I'm about to meditate, and then you sit down, and then everything's good and it's quiet. Girl, bye. I sit down. I'm like, oh my God, I should put that stuff in the crock pot. I wonder what was that?
Yeah,
what was that, a cricket? Yeah. And your mind just wonders so many. You have to train your mind to focus, to be still. It's that way with every part of your body.
I agree.
And I think that if we all start looking at our body holistically as a city, it'll be easier for us to understand, okay, the things that I'm expecting of myself if I'm reading a book, if I'm learning something, the time that it's going to take me to read it, to really like let it sink in for me to be able to comprehend. And then after I comprehend it, for me to be able to put the things that I've learned into practice and then get a result. Like these are things that take time, like starting a business. People think, oh, I started a YouTube channel, I upload a video. It's like, no, it takes years to gain momentum.
It does.
I think those are like the things that confuse people as much. And I think that's why I really wanted to have this conversation with you, because when somebody hear, oh, I have androgenetic alopecia, or all of these, I have CCCA. And when I say, oh, I cure CCCA, I'm one of the only people online that do, and I'm good at it. But that's not to say, oh, I have discovered something weird. No, there's a certain pattern and a routine that you look at. Like, you literally have to become the master of your body. Like my
Yeah.
site is called Guru, not because I'm the guru. I want to create gurus. Like
Yeah.
you become your own guru. Like you
Yeah.
said, Jews. Oh, it's the cholesterol. It's
Yeah.
and whenever I'm sorry, not cholesterol. It's gluten, and whenever
Yeah.
I have gluten, my body does this. He has
Yeah.
become the guru of his body, and I'm just being real. When you become the guru of your own body to the point where you can stop and reverse certain things that happen, and then you learn how to do that with other people,
Yeah.
it puts you in a state where you become, and this is just me defending myself a little bit.
Hmm.
It puts you in a state of where you come off so passionate that it may come off like you're being rude or defensive, but it's something that a quote that I heard that has just been stuck in my head, and he's like, I teach, I only argue or have conversations with my peers. With everybody
Mm.
else, I teach. Like
Mm.
I will only be willing to, like, if you were to say, oh, said no, coconut oil is great for the scalp. It doesn't block the follicles. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you, well, why? And
Yeah.
what
Where I
led
get
you
that
to
from?
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want us to like go back and forth, not like, HBS, you don't know what you talk about. Like
Yeah.
I really wanna understand. And then at the end of that, I'll either go, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Like which is my way of saying that don't make no sense to me. Or or
Yeah.
I'll be able to open up like my own theories and be able to like break them down. So
Yeah.
that's why I did want you to come on here. But the thing is, we don't disagree on anything.
No, not really. No, not at all. I mean, because when you fundamentally break things down, it's going to be that you know more about a specific subject, and I learn from you, and then the same thing. I'll know something about something, and you'll learn from me a little bit. But fundamentally, when you get to the truth, everything looks the same. We can say it differently. We can have our areas of expertise, but the truth is going to look the same. That's why if another person comes on here and they're the same exact way, they're going to say the same things we're saying in a different way, but they're going to have their expertise. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to people who don't really take the scientific approach to it, that's when you get the conflicts and the arguing. I get the most conflicts from, like either comments or people who email me, message me sometimes. And normally the argument is always, I heard the opposite of what you're saying. And I'm like, I know that I heard the opposite too. That doesn't mean, I heard the opposite too, but they'll never say I've proven the opposite of what they're saying. It's normally so and so said this. I'm like, oh, okay,
What do you want me to
I
do
get
with
it.
that?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it, so, but I've learned as my channel grows slowly how to kind of understand that it's just people being people, and when you show them, eventually they'll eventually get it. That's what I think. Eventually they'll get it. So.
I think that's one thing that I do like about
Mhm.
and I'm not saying nothing else about nobody else from down south because my family from Memphis. But I do think that's one thing that I love about people from the Midwest, because we kind of like we'll walk into something and be like, hey guys, look at this. You shouldn't do that. You should try this. And then we'll get some pushback for a second. We'll be like, no, guys, listen. But after the third time, it's like, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
Because it's just it becomes exhausting, and then it kind of makes you fall out of love with the thing in which
Mhm.
you're passionate about. So that's
Mhm.
why I just want to thank you for being so like so good with your words, and so like
Mhm.
open to describe and explain things to people, because I can be honest and say after saying the same thing for over a decade, it becomes exhausting, you
Yeah,
know.
I can see that.
So it's great to like see other or hear have let people hear from other scientists that are like in the same field and in the same field of study, and also understanding that Just because you study something and you're passionate about something doesn't mean that you can't fall victim to the thing, because at the end of the day, I look at it as I am a custodian of my body, but I don't really have complete and total control. There are certain things that I
Hmm.
cannot see, that all I can really do is sit and learn my body for myself, and then I can fix the things that go wrong. So I
Absolutely.
love that. I love that you take the time to really look at what's going wrong instead of just like band-aid, because that
Yeah,
makes a really big difference. So did you have
I
any
do.
questions for me or anything you wanted to like bring home to the people or anything?
Yeah, what I think that where we are now is that you're going to find that with artificial intelligence, there is no more of the old ways where you had people like just like me and you, right? So what happened? The good part about it is people will become their own scientists. That's the good part about it. And also, it's going to be very hard to market to people because now you can say, is this true or not? And you can get real science, you can get real feedback from AI now, at least to kind of make you understand a little better. So I think that people won't question people like you too much longer. I don't think it's going to, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be the people who were saying the snake oil. Those are the people that people are going to say now, nah, I know that's a problem. So the great thing is in this day and age, I think that it's going to be easier for scientists and people who take it seriously because now you got an 11-year-old that's going to type it up and say, he said, what? Matter of fact, a guy told me that. He said he took my video and he puts my videos in Chat GPT to disprove them. And Chat GPT was like, he's about right. He's just saying it in a non-scientific way, but he's about right what he's saying, right? And not saying that Chat GPT is 100%, but it helps you to kind of understand things that you wouldn't do 20 years ago. So I think that people like you, it's going to be much easier now, and it's harder for people to keep. Like if you're getting money from selling the oils, you ain't got that much longer. I'm just saying, you ain't got that much longer now. It's going to be a little different.
That's great. And thank you so much for that. And I am grateful for people like you, because seriously, people are like, she's making it up. I'm like, I swear to God. Like,
Yeah,
like I'm not making up follicles and glands. Like it's a real life thing. You can
yeah,
open up any. So
yeah,
I think that it's amazing what you're doing, even the new website that you've put together, just so people can understand. Like, even I feel the same way about Chat GPT, but
yeah,
I think people need to understand how to use Chat GPT. I think Chat GPT is a great tool for somebody who is in a I need to know stage, because you
yeah,
don't, whatever you type into Chat GPT, you wouldn't just take whatever they say as Bible verse. For
yeah,
example, if I was to type in ChatGPT right now, like, oh, what's the best way to moisturize black hair? They're gonna say all of the things that I hate. Why?
yeah,
Because ChatGPT is searching the internet, finding the most popular things. They're
yeah,
looking for the most popular blog posts. The
yeah.
scientific journals are not the most popular posts because nobody knows that they exist.
Absolutely.
So
And
what's
that's
going
that's crazy. And it's funny you say that because I'm going to confirm what you're saying because most of what I was doing was in my notebooks and just, kind of dealing with it that way. And I wasn't using AI actually till recently because once I got my general theory of reversitivity, that's when I wanted to break it. So I said, I got it now, but let me go ahead and break this because I wanted to disprove myself to see if it works. Same thing you've been saying is like, all right, this is what I think it is. But if I can break it, then I need to go back to the drawing board. That's science, right? So I had put stuff in Chat GPT and it was like giving me this basic information. And I just said, okay, let's do it this. Here's my theory. And then once it understood where I kind of resonated at, that's when it said, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so I see what you're trying to say. So the information in it is in there, but it goes back to what we talked about earlier. that question, why. So it's going to use what it thinks you resonate at for an answer. Now, if I go put something like that in Chat GPT that I've been using, it's going to give me totally different information because it knows don't come to me with that
Yeah,
that type of
exactly.
stuff.
I have those
But
conversations
yes.
with ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, now this is not. Hey, remember we're a little different in this, buddy. So yeah, yeah,
I
that's
do
good.
the same thing. I have my husband laughing because
Mhm,
I will be having a full fledged, because I remember I went on there and I just was just for giggles, like
mhm.
I asked them what was the best way to detangle hair, and they were like everything that I hate, everything that like just broken down. Oh, saturated in coconut oil, and then conditioner,
Yeah,
and then I went in and I said no. Well, and then everything that I make videos about, I said, and then ChatGPT said, you know what? You're right. Actually, and then it'll redirect itself, correct itself, and then go back and say, hey, I apologize. I only pulled that from this side. I swear. Like one day I'm
yeah,
going to share my chat.
yeah.
It was like,
I
I'm
believe
sorry,
it.
I pulled that from this side of YouTube. Actually, and then it'll give me the scientific breakdown, and I'll tell chat, don't bring me anything from Team Natural YouTube. Only bring me scientific journals, bring me
Yeah.
actual scientific data, bring me the ads, bring me the links. It'll do it.
Yep. I
But
agree.
if you
I agree.
just type in how to make your hair grow long, they gonna bring you Tata Talabria's internet.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It's what you put in, and it's going to start with the mass population first, and what most people will consider, and then it'll go deeper as it understands. Oh, you resonate differently. And
Yep.
once it understands that, then it's gonna give you a different answer. So when people say you can put my stuff in Chat GPT, yeah, you can, but I don't know what your Chat GPT personality is.
Yeah.
So
Because
yeah,
everybody's chat's different. It's so funny.
yeah,
I remember I had to change my chat around. I was like, because I put in there that I was from Detroit or something, and my chat was like, what up though, Sin? I said, I do not want
yeah,
a hood wreck chat. We're a professional over here. So
yeah,
that was like a really
yeah.
really good thing that you added
Mhm.
into, like just with AI taking over. We're not gonna escape it. Like we're not. The way even everybody's like, oh, AI is gonna take jobs. Guess what? And I'm not being insensitive,
Mhm.
but y'all remember cars wasn't always a thing before. We used to get driven around on horses. And so what
Yeah,
do you think the businesses that were running, that were their whole family was a family full of horse carriage people, pushers? What do
yeah,
you think they thought whenever what happened to them when cars came along? Same thing. Same thing with the mail. They used to carry mail on horsebacks. What do you think happened when airplanes came? Things
yeah,
evolved, they changed. So
yeah,
if you can't master the science of the human body, if you can't master knowing the difference between me and AQBS and somebody else on YouTube that's just randomly making stuff up, if y'all can't tell the difference now in 2025, y'all, I don't even know what's gonna happen to y'all 5-6 years from now when we can just pop up in each other's living room. I say 10 years from now, me and
yeah.
AQBS will be able to do a live and we'll be in y'all living room like, what up?
Like
So,
hologram. Yeah.
yeah. Like, it's funny now, but
Mhm.
it's when we were watching the Jetsons as kids, we didn't think those things could ever happen. And we're
What
doing
happened?
it right now. So,
Absolutely. That's good stuff.
I was gonna take some questions, but I think we've gotten too far down.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something. If anybody has a question that they want to ask, why don't you guys drop them in the chat really quick? I'm going to look for one. Oh my god, I love you too. Hold on. I don't see no. Oh wait.
Ooh.
Hmm. Uh, is the immune system check a head to toe reviews such as assessing any immune related or oral care, like a root canal? Um, I'm gonna give you a partial answer because I do hair and gut. I don't have nothing to do with teeth.
Yeah.
Those are it's different. Even though it's the same gut,
Yeah.
it I don't. So I'm going to say that yes, definitely your immune system can be related to certain things with your oral care. Um, but again, that would be something that you would want to check with your dentist with, and you would have to look at your diet because there are things that can happen externally. Absolutely, as a herbal practitioner, there are certain things that I would have certain patients have issues with in their mouth. Like I had a patient that had an abscess on the back of her gums, and she didn't have insurance, so she was not going to be able to get into a dentist, and it was excruciating pain, right?
Mhm.
So even though I wasn't, obviously I'm not licensed to check nobody's blood or nothing, girl, I ain't cutting on nothing and nothing, but I am licensed to treat things externally. And so there is something that they use in the dentist office that you don't know what it is, but it's called alum stone.
Mm.
And that stone, you've actually seen it. Is one of the things like when you're getting your teeth clean, and it
Mhm.
has like a kind of like a chalky, almost,
Like a gritty. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
talking.
like
Yeah,
taste,
yeah,
and they kind of like blast your teeth with it. That's
yeah,
what that is, right? And so it's a stone, and if you can see it, I'm gonna add a picture of it on the community tab. It
yeah.
literally looks like, okay, you know, like rock salt that you put down when it snows or
Mhm.
whatever. It looks like a big old piece of rock salt,
Oh wow.
and you
Okay.
break it up and you can grind it down, and then it turns into, it like dissolves in water, like literally the same way salt does. And then
Mm.
she gargled it in her mouth with lemon peels, right?
Mm.
And it is extremely antibacterial and antimicrobial, like almost as high as it could possibly get. And she gargled it for like basically all day for 3 days. But that very first day, within that first 2 hours, that was the thing that was the abscess. At first, she couldn't see that it was pus, but then once it went on there, the bacteria started to die. Sounds gross. Sorry if you're eating. But then it all came to a head and everything came to the surface. So
Mm.
for a surface level, on a surface level, yes, it could be your immune system. Yes, it could be things that you're eating. Even though I ain't saying you don't brush your teeth, I know you be brushing your teeth, but sometimes what we think is excessive oral care isn't excessive oral care, and there are still different bacterias and things of that nature left behind. So I would say make sure that you go really, really, really go to a dentist, because this is the thing. When we talking about hair, right? If something happened and my hair never grew back on this side, I could work it out. I could cover it up.
Yeah.
When we talk about your teeth, you can get new teeth, but it's a lot more traumatic,
Yeah.
losing teeth than it is being bald for a minute. Okay,
Mm.
so I hope that that makes sense. I don't think anybody else has any questions, and I'm not going to hold you in here all night because I
Mm.
appreciate you. But
Cool.
do you have anything you want to share with them? I already have this um the blog post. I have your YouTube and stuff linked
Yeah.
in there. But is there anything else you want me to share?
No, that's it. I appreciate that. I appreciate the you bringing me on and talking, and I appreciate it. It was nice.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, because you meant what you said. The last time we talked, I was like, I'm gonna see if he mean it. He was like, "Oh, just call me when you need me. I'll be here." He was
Yeah.
Johnny on the spot. I
Yeah.
emailed him. I was like, "Hey, can you come on?" He was like, "No problem. I'll be there." So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Appreciate you. I'll see you
All
later.
right. Bye.
See y'all later.
Thank you guys for chilling with us. How was this? Did you like this live? I'm so hot right now. How was everything? On a scale from 1 to 10, how was this today? On a scale from 1 to 10. On a scale from 1 to 10, where are we at, my friend? And I'm still working on my setup here, right? So bear with me. But thank you guys so much for sticking around. Today was extremely fun, right? But let me know if you have seen the video that was posted yesterday, because Simple the Apothecary has not one but 2 new products. I have a scalp treatment and a hair shaft treatment. It is absolutely amazing. All of the information is in the description box below, as well as in the video that was posted yesterday. So what I am going to do now is look through questions really quick to see if you guys have any questions for me. I'm gonna have to go back through and like read the comments, because I couldn't see any of the comments while we were on. I suffer migraines, and massaging with oil helps with the pain. I'm using oil. Well, the thing is, massaging with oil isn't helping with the pain. The pressure from your massage is helping with the pain, and the oil is giving you slip. Yes, regardless of what you're putting oil in the scalp for, it's going to damage the follicle. There are other ways that you can massage the scalp that doesn't involve you blocking the follicle. So those are things that I really want you to think about. Ooh, AQPS. I like that. I can see that. I can. Because I've told him before we started today, like, I'm going to be professional, but then not really. But I didn't have to do that today. Because I'm far away from the computer, so I can't really see y'all comments. So that's probably why I wasn't on there arguing with nobody. But I'm just kidding. I'm past that stage now. Hold on, let's just see if we have any questions while you guys look at my forehead, because that's what's happening right now. That's my bed over there. It's made up. Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business, guys. Okay, so I don't think anybody has any questions. I love you guys so much. This was amazing. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, you head over to my website and you subscribe to my website, so that way you are always getting all of the notifications, any events that we have, any new products that we have, and all of the things. The next live broadcast that we do is going to be so freaking exciting. Well, not the next live broadcast, because I'll be on live before this, but December 13th. Mark the date. Somebody put in the chat. Everybody just put in the chat real quick. December 13th. December 13th. Why am I off? There we go. December 13th. Put in the chat real quick. So December 13th, we will have a live broadcast here on my channel. And on this live broadcast, I will have, right now, I have 6. Okay. I'm not saying it'll be 6 altogether, but right now I have 6 different cosmetologists that will be coming up here on stage, just like it was with the 2 of us, but instead of it just being 2, it'll be 7, including myself. And we're going to have a conversation. And we will, at the end, have an open floor where you will get to ask every question you've always wanted to ask a cosmetologist, and not about hair care and stuff like that. There is a rift. There is a divide between cosmetologists and clients. There is. There is a very, very big difference and divide between dusty cosmetologists, the ones that not dusty cosmetologists, but people who haven't been to cosmetology school, they're pretending to do hair and doing hair and hair salons, and dusty cosmetologists and cosmetologists like me. And the cosmetologists like me are all hidden. For example, the cosmetologists, 2 out of 3 out of the 6 cosmetologists that you guys are going to meet on the 13th do not want me to share any of their information as it pertains to booking on the website, right? So I really want you to think about that. They don't want any new clients. We're going to have the conversation. All of the things that you've been wanting to know, all of the things that you've been really confused about, all of the things that cause like that rift between women and clients, or all of the things. Like we're having these conversations. So I really hope that this has made sense. All right. And in our very, very next video, we're going to have fun. This channel is going to be about a whole bunch of different things. But before we move on to other things, I really want us to get that understanding. Today, with AQBS on, you got to see the way that scientists actually talk, the way that scientists actually have conversations. I wasn't hoping our conversation went bad. I was just hoping it was something that we disagreed on so y'all could see how scientists disagree. It just so happens we don't disagree on anything. But I just need you to understand that as it pertains to you talking, you having conversations about hair, I want y'all to see the difference. Know that when you go online and you see somebody like, that's the devil, and you ain't supposed to do, and like all of that, all of the rah-rah, that's gonna be something that you should start, like, I'm not saying don't listen, right? But it's something that should make you kind of like sit back and think a little bit, like, let me be a little cautious. Let me do a little more digging, right? Even with me, everything I say, keep digging. I have my website going across the bottom, right? And if you go over to my website and you click on the tab that says blog, you will go over to my blog and you will see the majority of all of my studies, the majority of all of my data. You can fact check me anytime, any day of the week, any hour of the day. I want you to. I want you to. My intention with this video, my intention with every video that I make here on my channel is to make you think. Am I trying to trigger you? Absolutely. But I'm not trying to trigger you into anger. It may start off with anger, but that anger is going to lead you to the knowing. When AQBS was talking, one thing that he said was like, okay, once I set my model, once I set a model, I am out to break it. I want to break it 50 million times. You know why? Because I can prove that my theory is right. If I can build a model, break it, and put it back together, I can break it multiple ways. And no matter how I break it down, I can always put it back together. That is how I'm able to check myself. That is why I'm able to stand 10 toes down on everything that I say. Why? Because before you can ever even think to fact check me, before your mind or your brain can even get in that scenario where it's like, oh, she may be making that up, I don't think that's true, I've already deconstructed my theory at least 10 times minimum. So everything that you're saying, I've already thought and I've already tested against it. And I know that you're wrong. Why do I know that you don't know what you're talking about? Because I used to think that too. I broke the model down, tested it against it. It's right every time. Give me a 5 in the chat if that makes sense, right? So again, I love y'all so much. I'm going to break this video down so we can have more digestible conversations. And if you're watching this on replay, or not even replay, if you're watching this now and there's anything specifically that you want me to dive into like deeper, right? If there's any bit and piece of this you want me to dive into deeper, please do that. And again, if you have not done so already, make sure you go to his channel and subscribe to his channel. Watch a bunch of his videos because I want you guys to hear other scientists say the same thing that I say. We may say it in different ways. The same way you'll have a scientist in Spain or scientist in Germany. We all find the same facts, but one speaks German, one speaks French, one speaks Portuguese, one speaks English. It's all of the things. We're all delivering the message in different ways, but it all leads to the same thing. So if all of these different scientists from all different parts of the world and all different races are coming to the same conclusion, it's now up to you to decide who you're going to listen to between the scientists who are doing the work, who've built the models and broken them apart time after time after time, or the people who are just like, oh, put this on your head, knock your heels together, fart 4 times, and your hair will grow. You know? So, love you so much. Bye. I love you so much. Don't get mad at me, okay?